and then it's there.
Oh, would you look at that? It's Gold Cup Day. This is the finale of what's been a great week. It's 10:30, gates have just opened, and as these guys have been doing all week, welcoming racegoers with a little bit of a party. Let's see how we're feeling. Morning, girls, how are we feeling? Excited?
Yeah, very excited.
Is Galloping Deschamps going to make history? Are we going to have a 3 times Gold Cup winner?
I'm not sure on that one.
We need confidence.
Maybe you might do.
There's not much confidence. What do you think? Is Galloping Deschamps going to make history?
Absolutely.
Absolutely, that's a bit better. Good form with those trousers, son. How you doing? Unbelievable.
They're a bit grubby.
Yeah, I know. They look like they've had a good few nights out.
Salmon a lot, Pete.
Have you breathed out after that?
Yeah, it was a good one. I lost a bit in the first race, obviously, and then let a notch out the belt. But there's plenty in D Warehouse. That helped. That must have touched 100 in running, I should think, the winner. It looked, the favourite looked to be struggling a bit. I'm not 100% convinced with the one, but obviously the winner's been a bit of a miracle turner. Although it had been running over longer trips, running over 2 mile 4, so that's where the stamina came into play over 2 miles. It's a good result for us. So one of the good guys, yeah? Cheers.
Excuse me, ladies. I love your outfits. Would you mind talking me through where they're from?
These are Zara, shirt Zara, and the tie is my dad's little tie. So.
Oh, I love that. Well, hopefully you'll have some winners today with your tie on. Tomorrow, put it into your bank account.
I'd buy a horse. I'd buy a horse and run it at Cheltenham races. That's exactly what I'd do. And I'd call it Gerald. Gerald the horse.
We would train Gerald.
Sorry?
We would train Gerald.
My mate Oates is here. He's my trainee. And I'd be the co-trainer. Very good at what he does. Serious horse rider as well.
Who's going to ride the horse?
Me. Serious jockey I am.
What's your...
The stylings of Frankie Foster on Raceday RTV, surfing the social scene at Cheltenham this week. You've had a good week as well, numbers-wise.
Yeah, massive week for numbers. I think we'll do 50 million views across the Cheltenham week, and we'll still be posting content for the next couple of days or the next week.
All right, give me some context then. How is Cheltenham's cut through to that audience that you want relative to all the other festivals you do here and globally?
Cheltenham's massive because it attracts, people from all over. I think what's probably worth mentioning is, if anyone hasn't seen it, it exists predominantly on Instagram and TikTok. So lots of racing media exists on X and Twitter. Everything's on Instagram, TikTok. If you don't have an account, you wouldn't have seen it. But, the people that are sat at home scrolling through their phone on Instagram, TikTok, those channels, we've hit 50 million views on them for Cheltenham. And 10 million likes, which is great, because that means people are actually watching it, liking it, engaging with it.
And why is it? Is it in part because the institution that is Cheltenham will drive it harder algorithmically so that you will reach more people because it is in more people's consciousness?
Yeah, I think so. Also, lots of people are there. People want to see themselves. So if we interview hundreds of people throughout the entire week, they want to go and see if they've made the cut. Yeah, and it's a big talking point. People from all over message me Cheltenham week, and they won't message me any other week of the year about racing, but come to Cheltenham and they want to know who you fancy, they want to know who's going. They might message me saying, I saw that interview you did with so-and-so. It's a week, isn't it, that captures like the National. They're the 2 weeks of the year for jumps racing, really. So
have people really changed, or is it just this? Is this just the contemporary incarnation of please let me be on TV?
Changed from what?
Well, because the kind of the orthodoxy is that it's a feast of self-love and that people just want their 5 minutes of fame. Hasn't that always been the case, but it's just through different channels now?
I guess so. In a way, I mean, I did an interview ages ago when race day first started with Dave Yates talking about the different places people consume their media. And I wasn't being rude, but I was saying, I certainly don't read the paper. And, you know, where adverts used to be, where we used to try and attract people into racing, whether it was the papers, the TV, billboards, now people are spending huge amount of time sat on their phone. So racing needs to be there. Racing needs to compete for attention.
This is where the national conversation is, essentially, on your phone, on your device.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if we're, as a sport, not in front of people's eyes on their phone, you're missing a huge audience. And the numbers say that, you know, if we weren't there this week, we've missed 50 million eyes on racing.
Obviously, the difference, as I see it, from traditional media, or legacy media as it's called now, and what Race Day RTV is doing, what some of the TikTok channels are doing, is that you're not bound by such tight editorial constraints.
Yes.
So you have to be your own editor. You're trying to, you know, quality control it, but to a certain extent, that looseness is what people cleave to.
You want it to be rough and ready,
right? So you want it to be rough and ready.
You want people to feel like they're in the Guinness Village with you, and you know, people that have just watched the short clip with some snippets there. It's raw, isn't it? You almost are like you're stood there with a member of the public having a laugh.
Not too polished.
No, it can't be too polished.
You're the only thing that's allowed to be polished,
and it doesn't work if it is.
Okay.
Honestly, you will see views drop if it's not. It needs to be fun. It needs to be in your face. And we've had a bit of a kind of switch in this, and the guys at CM have done a good job of just pumping out content. Don't worry about it too much. Get it out. We've probably posted 200 individual snippets of content across Cheltenham, and that just gives us more chance for someone to see it, someone to say to their mates, that looks like fun, should we go next year? Or remember when we went to Cheltenham a couple of years ago, should we go again? And I'm not naive to say that, and I'm not saying that needs to be the only content that exists. I'm not saying that we only have to show people having a laugh pretending to ride a horse in the Guinness Village. You know, there's a spectrum with probably time form analysis on one end and talking about fashion on the other end. And we exist down this end to try and get, you know, the general public involved at a broader level. But I'm not saying it's the only bit of content.
What about betting? And what about your betting content and the extent to which that drives people to be interested in betting on the sport, which fundamentally is what it's all about?
Bookies are very popular. We did an update in the morning and at the end of the day on how the bookies were getting on. Obviously, they've had a great week. There was a bookie saying he's on champagne and lobster. People are interested in that. People are interested in if people are making or losing money. But for me, anecdotally speaking, I speak to so many people. I probably speak to more racegoers than many in the sport because I spend every day just interviewing members of the public. They want to talk about racing. You know,
you do go racing pretty much every day.
Yeah, pretty much. Every week I'll be racing. And people, you know, whether they want to get on TV, like you said, just for the sake of it, they always come with a racing perspective. They'll ask you who you fancy. They're talking about Galloping de Champs. All right, they might want a selfie and they might want to laugh and be able to say to their mates, oh, we got an interview. But at the same time, they are engaging in racing. And we've seen that, I guess, over time, because race days exist for 4 years now. So we might have had people that follow the channel for 4 years. They're going to know a bit more than the broad customer. All
right, is every bit of content created on a racecourse good for racing?
No. Everything that we do is pretty positive, but every bit of content that's created on a racecourse, no. But
say the guy that comes down in his helicopter with a load of cash and is all kind of lots of masculine bravura and is like got 15 grand in cash or whatever and handing it over in an era where we're trying to talk about responsible gambling, and it gets 3.5 million views.
Yeah. It's interesting.
It's interesting. Is it not the case then that quantity does not always equal positivity or quality?
I agree. And that's an extreme example. He's promoting his business, really. That's not what we do. You know, what we're trying to do is show people having fun and other people to watch it and say, that looks like fun, let's go. And I think it's probably worth giving some examples in the sense of it's quite easy to see how if we did an interview with Dan in the Guinness Village and that was quite fun because Matty was talking about racing, but it was also quite light-hearted and it would appeal to, you know, a racing fan, maybe not a watcher of racing TV who knows more about the sport, but someone who knows who Dan Skelton is, knows who his runners are, and quite likes to see him relaxed in the Guinness Village.
But if it pops up on my Instagram feed, I will, you know, I'm going to watch it, aren't I? Like we all are.
And that's a little bit deeper into the sport, but then there's some things which I understand why people question. How is talking to a lady about her dress at Cheltenham good for the sport? And what that's doing is getting more eyes on the event And it's casting a wide net. That's not going deep into the sport, but it is still appealing to somebody to say, that looks like fun. And we do a lot of stuff with celebrities. For example, Georgia Toff, who was in The Jungle. She has a huge, huge audience. She's great fun on camera.
This is Georgia Toffolo, right?
Yeah, great fun on camera. She actually has a bet as well, which
she actually likes racing.
And she loves racing. So for us, if we interview her and we have a laugh with her and her followers see it, they go, oh, Toff's having a good day at the races. Maybe we should go. So it's that kind of...
We haven't had Toff on Luck on Sunday.
Maybe you should.
We say there's a Toff on Luck on Sunday every week, but you know what I mean.
It's a terrible word, but influencer and influencing people to go via short snippets of media. So I do get why people question how is this relevant. But when you say we've had 50 million views on the event, that's making more people aware of it, if nothing else. 10 million people have liked it. That shows that they've enjoyed what they've seen. And then anecdotally, me on a racecourse, the amount of people that have had a selfie, come and said hello, gone, oh, that's Race Day TV. You know, maybe 1 million of them, or 100,000 of them have came, or have maybe were coming anyway, but have engaged with it more. So I believe I've always believed what we do, because more people are spending time on their phones.
Do you enjoy the extra content that you do? The sort of like, so the content that's at a 45-degree angle to the mainstream. What do you think of this? What are your chances in that?
Yeah, like I said, like Frankie's alluded to, it obviously brings a lot more eyes on it. But I'm on Instagram and Facebook. I'm not on TikTok, but there's a running joke. Normally on the way to the races, I might drive, or Tom Messenger might drive, our assistant. He drives on the way back, or I drive on the way. The whole way there, if he's not asleep, he's on TikTok.
Scrolling.
Normally Tolly Murphy, sending each other TikToks, look at this, look at that video, and I suppose it gets people talking, doesn't it? And there's a lot of stuff on there that you don't even look at, do you? You just scroll by it, and it's...
Here we are.
Goes back to the point, doesn't it? There is a lot of nonsense, but, you know, cast a wide net, also do some stuff that gets people deeper into the sport, and I think if you strike the balance, it's doing its job.
Frankie Foster trying to find diamonds in the rough.
Watch live racing now on racingtv.com.